or a lawyerforus.com.
94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Dallas Cowboys made a couple of roster claims today, adding to their secondary with the additions of Tariq Wheezy, Bridges from the Chargers, and Reddy Stewart from the Vikings. Defensive end Tyrus Wheat was claimed by the Lions. To make room for the additions the Cowboys did have, they released Andrew Booth and Zion Childress, with Childress likely to return to the practice squad once he clears waivers.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pleasure wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thank you for joining me, however you may be joining me. Whether that's 94.1 on your FM dial, you have to be locked in and listening at sasportstar.com, or if you happen to be watching live on our YouTube channel, that's right. We stream all of our shows live on YouTube, whether that's the Morning Huddle, the Blitz, or right here with Extra Innings with Pleasure. Just go to YouTube, search SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. While you're at it, you're able to comment along with the show as it happens, or feel free to call in the old-fashioned way, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. If you want to be a part of the conversation, I always love talking with y'all. And I already see one of the comments from Coyote of, what's up, Pledge? Save us from that 4 hours of Jerry and Dak. I can't. It's kind of the news that kind of broke this afternoon. That's very, very important. Now, I have other things as well, but that will also be a part of the show today because it is a big topic in terms of, could there actually be an offer on the table for Micah Parsons? And if so, would you move on from Micah, a potential generational type pass rusher, just to get rid of the headache and potentially try and find younger, cheaper talent? Before we do, though, there's a big game coming up before that game on next Thursday. It's this Saturday, and the Texas Longhorns are getting set to take on Ohio State in what will be Arch Manning's first road start ever, as he was going into the Horseshoe up in Columbus, Ohio. What a way to kick off your career as the starting quarterback at the University of Texas. And earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, we've heard all year, favorite for the Heisman, favorite for the national championship, favorite to be the number one overall pick if he decides to come out. Well, those massive expectations usually lead to wild overreactions, whether it's one way or the other on how these things turn out. And the Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob, they were talking about what those reactions could be after that first game, good or bad.
Hey, I had an Arch Manning question for you while we're here on this college football. All this hype about Arch Manning. I saw a story today about the 5 moments that led Arch Manning to prepare for this one. And it brought me to the question of how big of an overreaction one way or the other is there going to be after this Texas-Ohio State game in regards to Arch Manning?
In my history, the overreaction to the negative will be twice as much to the positive.
Okay.
Because if he just plays his game, he will the expectations are you're great, just don't make a mistake. But every mistake is going to be magnified by 3. I mean, if he comes out and throws a couple of interceptions and still wins the game, I don't think there'll be a lot of overreaction. But this defense for Ohio State they're all gone. These are all new dudes. He's going against the weakest Ohio State defense they've had in a minute. Even though
chances are good, they'll still be pretty good.
They reload. So I think I'm not going to, but the thought process is if you're ever going to beat Ohio State in the horseshoe, it's now. It's not right now. A freshman quarterback and half their defense has been taken to the NFL. Now they do reload, but this is one of those things that I think the closer we get to the game, more and more money is going to fall on Texas because more people are going to be looking at this Ohio State team and going, oh, yeah, that cornerback's in the NFL. Those running backs are gone. That cornerback's in the NFL. That safety's back, but the other safety's gone. This offense should be able to run by them. And I think Texas is going to be probably propped up a little bit too high. They're going to react to the negative. If they win the game, you might as well just give them the Heisman. You think the hype is big now, just go in and beat Ohio State. I don't care if you throw 3 interceptions. You won the game.
I will say this about Ohio State defensively. I think they got a big downgrade at defensive coordinator this offseason. They lose Jim Knowles to Penn State, which that's never good to
across
lose.
The street. Yeah.
And you bring in Matt Patricia, who
I thought he was a better offensive coordinator. But that's
I mean, I do not think highly of Matt Patricia. Bill Belichick liked to have yes men around him. They like to have people who basically did the job that he wanted them to do.
Patricia's a genius. I think.
Are you kidding me? What makes you think that?
No, I'm talking about as a person. That guy's a rocket scientist. I mean, he's a brilliant guy. He's a genius, but he's like a functionary. Yes. I think he draws great lines and does a lot of things, but the extraneous stuff, the coaching part, I don't know.
That's what we're asking. We're not asking him to be Goodwill Hunting and draw on the board at MIT.
Right. I think you can design a hell of out of a defense, but can you coach the players in that defense after you've designed it? That's going to be the question in college. So when getting back to the Arch question, the positive you upgrade by half, the negative you multiply times 2. You know what I mean?
If they lose that game, people are going to lose their mind. Arch is overrated.
All of it.
I don't know where I'm going to sit because I already think that Arch is a little bit overrated. And if they lost, I would just kind of be like, well, yeah, he's a young quarterback. This is going to happen. But the expectations are to a point now where anytime he loses, it's going to be a big deal.
It's going to hurt. And especially freshmen lose in dumb ways. There's one way to lose, and that's just the other team outscores you. You didn't do anything wrong. Your offense was fine. You just got outscored. But freshmen throw interceptions. Freshmen run the wrong way. But our first-year starters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The mistakes they make are very different than senior mistakes. So the way you lose will matter too.
I think so too. And you don't want it to be the quarterback's fault.
No pick sixes, no stumble out of the pocket with a fumble. Don't pull a Sterner. Don't do anything that looks absolutely ridiculous that can be replayed over and over as a negative highlight. That's the kind of stuff that stings.
Yeah. The backup quarterback for Texas, and I know nobody thinks they'll ever have to hear his name, is Matthew Caldwell, who transferred in from Troy. That's right. Troy.
But he's like 25 years old.
Before that, he was at Gardner-Webb.
Yeah.
And before that, he was at Jacksonville State. Before Jacksonville State was a D1 program.
He's just there so he can buy the beer.
Maybe so.
He's the guy with the ID.
And then beyond him, it's a redshirt freshman, Trey Owens, and a true freshman, KJ Lacey.
Yeah, Diabell isn't here yet, guys. He doesn't get here until next year.
So if Arch isn't you talk about all your eggs in one basket. This is the basket.
And Texas fan, I want you to take stock in the good fortune you've had over the last 3 or 4 years. You've been too deep at quarterback for a long time. You lost quarterbacks to injury and ignorance, and it didn't really matter. Now it will.
Now it will matter. I'm curious to see what the reaction is to Arch, win or lose. Because if they win, I think people will be like, oh my God, Texas is winning the national title.
What
Arch
happens if he throws for 350, 2 touchdowns, and they lose?
There's going to be some real questions about the defense, first of all.
But do you think it'll reflect on him?
No. I think if he plays like that, I don't think so. But if he does that, they don't lose.
That's also probably a true statement. But it is possible for both things to be correct, that he has a great game, but the team isn't good enough.
But I do think there will be panic if
panic would be a good word.
Game, I don't know the last time I thought of a guy having this much pressure for one game, and it's not like a national championship game. It feels like all of Longhorn Nation's hopes and dreams are all attached to this one game, because if he's a dud,
Yeah.
suddenly it makes the whole season feel a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
And
it won't be quite the realization that you went through with the Ewers, where Ewers, I mean, had a great college career, but he didn't measure up to the 5 stars. He didn't measure up as the best charted quarterback since Peyton or whatever whatever the numbers were. He didn't, but he had an extraordinary career. And once I think Texas adjusted their expectations to what he's truly capable of, things got a whole lot better. And maybe the best thing that could happen to Arch is maybe not have the great games coming out of the box, and then just show that kind of improvement. Maybe the expectations need to be lowered just a little bit.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't think you're ever hoping to lose a game.
No, you want to win and win doing it wonderfully. But
yeah,
this is a first-year starter quarterback stepping into SEC land, and worse than that, taking on the national championship on the road at what is essentially 10 o'clock in the morning by your body clock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the worst case scenario on a lot of different fronts.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, but it's a good, if you pass that test also, boy, it's going to feel like,
I'd be interested to see how Sark is handling this early kickoff. Is he making his kids wake up earlier? Are they practicing different? Because an 11 a.m. kickoff, they only see that once a year. That's the
they have there's Texas isn't they're not unusual with the early kicks.
Maybe 3 a year, man. I know the OU game's always early, but there aren't that many 11 a.m. kicks.
I would imagine preparation is probably very similar to that. Now I will say
that's 10 a.m. on their body clock, though. I mean, they're playing at 10.
Yeah, I would imagine this is a lot different than when Vince went to the Horseshoe. That was a nighttime game, and that was a crowd like. And I bet Texas said we're not going back there if we're playing at night.
There's a lot of things about, in my experience, athletes are a lot like kindergartners, that we need structure. I want to eat at the same time every day. I want to practice at the same time every day. I have this internal clock, and when it does get shaken, when it does get off kilter, it is kind of hard to adjust. So I would be interested to see how they prepared for this game in particular, getting up, working out at 8 a.m. in the morning. You have to eat 3 hours earlier than you're accustomed to. It's all those little things that you don't think about, that you're halfway through the game, you got to go poop because you ate at the wrong time.
Have you seen Texas's early season schedule? I imagine all of the focus for any amount of focus that you could have piled in for August and September all went to this one game.
Oh, they've been practicing for Ohio State since May.
Yeah, because if you lose to UTEP or San Jose State or Sam Houston, then it doesn't matter what the result of the Ohio State game is. Like, this game is it's all they've been focused on. So I imagine they've built their entire practice routine around what it's going to be like to play this game.
But you know what it's like to get a bunch of kids ready to play at like a 9 a.m. game, like half the team's asleep. And you're like, man, everybody get busy. We got this. This is important.
But also, I can't imagine them not being hyped up for this game either.
And that's the other side of this. How much is he going to handle that?
Because I always wonder, like, the teams that, and these are the teams that usually get bit in the ass, are teams. And this has happened to A&M before. Teams who are playing week one, a team that they should, on paper, have no problem with, and they sleepwalk into it, and then it's like, oh my God, these guys are here to play.
Well, it normally happens because the next game is the big one. And the next game is you're playing Notre Dame next week, but this way you got App State. So you've been practicing for the other team, but the other team's been practicing for you.
Exactly. Yeah, this is their Super Bowl.
I think both Ohio State and Texas can look at this, and if you're realists, and you don't say it to your team and you don't say it to everybody else, but we could lose this game. We could lose this game and be just fine, and especially if we learn from it.
Texas is an underdog in this game.
So, at the end of the day, I think Sark and Day both realize if we lose, it ain't the end of the world, but I'm going to have to do so much extra work to protect my young quarterback, to reinforce my alumni that this is all right. It's just this weekend kind of thing. And that's both coaches.
Yep.
I love the little shot there by AJ. A little drive-by. Happens to A&M all the time. Look, both these teams, their whole offseason's been geared towards this game. And as far as it being an earlier kickoff because it's a time zone over, their whole schedule's probably been tuned to this game. They're ready for it. Their body clocks are attuned to it. They're ready for the kickoff. Now, could they get too hyped up, too amped up? that is also a possibility, and it remains to be seen. But I can't wait to see what that line looks like the closer we get to kickoff, because I think it's going to get closer and closer and may end up being a pick 'em by the time we get to kickoff. When you look at all the changes on Ohio State side of the field, just as much as Texas is. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com. When we come back, a little in-depth look at that game. Our Longhorn insider, Bob Ballou of KITV in Austin, he joined the Blitz earlier today. We'll bring you a portion of that when we come back right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Stars Golf Classic is back, baby. Get the crew together. Guys, gals, the whole gang. And join us Monday, September 29th at Olympia Hills Golf Club for a laid-back day full of swings, laughs, and little friendly trash talk. It's just $120 per player or $400 for a foursome. A steal for a day on a beautiful course with your buddies. Proceeds benefit the Community Foundation of the Hill Country. But don't worry, this isn't a stuffy tournament. No blazers, no pressure, just cold drinks, good vibes, and unforgettable memories. Presented by the Law Office of Jesse Hernandez, the Texas Chancla, and sponsored by Flight by England and PPL Motorhomes. Then, once you've conquered the course, we'll keep the party rolling at the Break Room Bar off Pat Booker Road, where the drinks are cold, the food is hot, and the stories are even better. Get ready to tee off on the best Monday you'll have all year. Grab your spot now at sasportstar.com.
The following is a dramatization.
Davis Law Firm, how can I help?
Hi, I got hurt in a wreck, but I don't know if it's really worth getting an attorney.
Don't worry, you called the right place.
I'm Jeff Davis. At Davis Law Firm, we're here for you 24/7, and you don't pay unless we win. We recently secured a jury verdict for $210 million in a wrongful death case. So if you've been hurt, call us at 444-4444.
Davis Law Firm, San Antonio.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems. Listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accots, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Summer's wrapping up, and life is picking back up. Early mornings, long days, and a to-do list that doesn't quit. And neither should you. Who has time to slow down due to body pain? That's why there's Aleve, to keep you going. With just one pill, Aleve delivers longer-lasting body pain relief per dose compared to other leading OTC branded pain relievers. Aleve helps keep you moving from sunup to sundown with up to 12 hours of pain relief per dose, so you can keep moving and be ready for whatever's next. Use as directed.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I don't know what happened that prompted what's going on in the comments on our YouTube channel. Of course, we are live on YouTube as well. At SA Sports are on YouTube. Go ahead, like, subscribe. Something got turned on to food, and that I'm skin and bones, and then I need a Twinkie. On 12 and 16 ounce curls don't work. Look, I eat and drink as much, if not more, than anybody when I remember to eat and drink. I get busy throughout the day. Sometimes I forget. The reason I'm probably losing weight right now is likely because I haven't been in the gym in a couple of weeks and it's taking its toll on me. But I eat, man. I just natural metabolism. It keeps me lean. Sorry, guys. But trust me, I eat plenty. I just eat it all at once. It's more of a probably fast than anything else, I'm guessing. But one thing that we have been fasting through is football season because we've been without it for a long time and we're about to get a smorgasbord. It starts tomorrow and you can join the Blitz live out at the Roo Pub tomorrow. There's going to be football games on, including 25th ranked Boise State, as they'll be playing at 4:30 in the afternoon during the Blitz. So go catch the game with them. They'll have football on all day. And then, of course, the big game this weekend, Texas and Ohio State. And we went to the source, our Longhorn insider on the Blitz earlier today, as Jason and Joe had Bob Ballou of KITV on up in Austin, who will be at that game in Columbus and provides a little insight as to what we can expect from Arch Manning, his first start, what this team can look like, and how this game could potentially play out.
Will the Longhorns be 1-0 after the first week of the college football season? Number one in the country, but underdogs at Ohio State.
I think I will say this. All of us are very intrigued to see what we see on Saturday for a lot of reasons. Obviously, the Arch Manning factor is there, everything that goes into the last 2 years of getting him to this point, all those things. I think we're all interested because both these teams lost so much off of last year's team. The Ohio State team that won the national title, the Texas team that lost to them in the national semifinal. So many of those guys are gone. Before cut day on yesterday, on Tuesday, there were 32 guys from those two teams on NFL rosters. So the turnover is great. What I think you turn to is, do you believe in your development? Do you believe in your coaching? Do you believe in your recruiting? And I think both staffs do, which is what's going to make Saturday so very interesting. It is hilarious that Texas is the number one team in the country and enters its first game as an underdog. But yeah, it's going to be a fun one, and Columbus will be rocking. It's going to be a great start to college football.
Yeah, but what I love, Bob, is they're pissed off because it's a noon kickoff show, and they don't get to drink all day first. So I'm pretty happy about that. I look at this game, and I honestly, and I know Ohio State. I'm not saying they're a cupcake by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think Texas has got too much speed for that team, and I think that will undo Ohio State in the end.
I think there are a lot of things to look to for sure. And going back to your point about how they can't drink all day, they're still going to be miserable. Everybody in 2005 that went to the Texas-Ohio State game, so that's the most miserable, worst fan base they've ever dealt with in their entire life. So 20 years later, we'll see if they've made any improvements on that front. But I think all the Texas fans kind of expect to go up there and, get harassed, get spit on, get beer bottles thrown at them, the whole thing. I mean, that's kind of what everybody experienced 20 years ago. And then they won the game, which made it even worse for the fan base. But no, so you mentioned the speed. Obviously, that's what Sark's built around. What I think is interesting is, first and foremost, before we even get into Arch, you look at the Texas defense. You start with three guys who are preseason first-team All-Americans: Michael Taft, Anthony Hill, and Colin Simmons. That's where you start. I mean, before you get into all these other guys that have made such an impact. Either guys like Trey Moore, there was a UTSA guy that came in and is already projected as one of the best players in the draft next year. It goes on and on. Ethan Burke on the edge, Jelani McDonald's an up and comer. I mean, I can do this all day. But the point is, they're going against a quarterback who's making his first career start. Mm-hmm. Now, Julian Sands, a 5-star quarterback out of California. They love him. I mean, that's why you recruit well. That's why you bring guys in. I don't know that Ohio State's offense is ready for Texas defense. And I think as much as we want to talk about Arch, the Texas defense is going to be, and obviously Arch is going to guide the team where it goes. I don't mean it like that, but this Texas defense could really, really guide this team deep into the playoffs and into the national championship game this year. It's going to have to, because a lot of times that's how you win championships. And there's a lot of belief that this defense could be really elite in college football this year.
Bob Ballou, KI Television in Austin, the podcast called The Stampede, with us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. And I'm glad you talked about that Longhorn defense, because all the talk really has been about Arch and the offense, but the defense is stacked. But Ohio State's offense, they've got a new quarterback, but their running back, familiar to San Antonio High School fans, that Jason Peoples kid from Veterans Memorial, is going to get the start. And if he's anything at Ohio State like he was in high school, that defense is they've got to do a hell of a job stopping the run, but actually tackling him to the ground.
Right. I think it's going to be for both those guys. You know, CJ Donaldson and James Peoples are both really good. CJ's coming over from West Virginia, where he was a very talented guy. And but that's what this game is. It's elite talent against elite talent. And what do you have in you that's going to go get a stop on 2nd and 8 or 3rd and 4 or whatever the big down is? And that's what is going to make Saturday so great. And then when we look back on this, when we get into the playoff and maybe they meet again, we're going to be like, God, that game was so good then. And then all these guys have grown up for 16 games leading into this one. So, as much as we want to put a lot on this game, and we will, and it will mean a lot in the moment, by the time we get to December and January, we may look back on this and be like, that was just kind of a warm-up game for both these teams to get into big game scenarios and get themselves ready for what's going to be, obviously 12 games in the regular season of people targeting them, and then getting into the championship game in the playoffs. This game, like Sark said this week, this game won't define our season. If we win it or we lose it, we want to go in and win it, but it's not going to define what we do this year. And I think he's done a really good job of being steady about all this stuff. All that said, I did ask him Monday, like, how much have you used the January loss to fuel you? And he kind of gave like I keep it in my back pocket. Like, if we get complacent during camp, I'll bring it out. I'm not buying it. I think they have been pissed off for 7.5 months that they lost that game, and they get to go up and get a chance at revenge. And I think every bit of them knows that's what they want. Ohio State football posted a picture. It said 2 weeks or something. It was just Instagram people, hey, the game's coming. And it was an Ohio State player standing over Gunnar Helm, Gunnar laying on the ground after dropping a ball. And I'm like, and I showed it to Ethan Burke on Monday. He was like, oh, cool, okay, cool. And that's going to be up this week. Like, all these things, they've got all these motivational tactics that help in the off season when you're going through a hard day or you're struggling or whatever. They're not going to necessarily help you on 3rd and 6 in the 3rd quarter. You're not going to be thinking, oh, they posted that picture. But they will help you in the preparation and in the motivation to prepare even harder and do more this week to be ready for Saturday.
Well, I just think it's, look, do you belong or not? And I know they were both in the game, right? But if you go into Ohio State and you can come out of there with a win, I think that says a lot about your program and how you perform moving forward. Now, they're going to have a real quarterback at least playing in Arch Manning this year, so maybe that'll make a big difference.
Here we go.
I kid. I love what he said, Bob, about having a target on their back. He said, "Well, we got a target on everybody we're going to play's back."
Yeah. Quinn Ewers made an NFL roster. So anyway, yeah, Arch Manning is.
Well, he's in Miami, for goodness. They don't have quarterbacks there.
So here's the thing that I think has been most impressive about Arch Manning is, and really a 180 from Quinn in the media and in other spots. He's just very himself. Like, and maybe that's who Quinn is. Maybe he's just kind of quiet in front of media, but he never really gave a lot of substance in his media interviews. Arch is willing to just kind of be like, I'm going to say whatever I'm going to say, and it's fine. I mean, he's not like calling people out or anything. He's not talking trash, but like, he tells funny stories. He laughs. He, talks about his grandfather Archie, his uncles Peyton and Eli. Like, he'll go into that stuff. He's not afraid to get into that stuff. And so I think he's comfortable now. What's your comfort level in the 4th quarter of a 3-point game? And that's where, and I hope that's what he gets. That's what you want in the first game. You want some pressure on you in the 4th quarter, so you get to deal with it and you get to see how you react to it. he's very. I keep saying I think he's going to exceed expectations, and people go, he's the Heisman favorite, and they're picked to win the national championship. How is he going to exceed expectations? And I'm like, well, I think what I mean by that is just I think he's going to be every bit of everything people think he's going to be. Now, it's not going to be all the time. It's not going to. I mean, he's going to throw interceptions. He's going to make mistakes. Every quarterback does. But I think with his athleticism, it gives Texas such a leg up going into this season because of the weapons they have with Ryan Wingo at wide receiver, with Cedric Baxter back in the backfield, Jack Endries, this transfer tight end from Cal that everybody loves. You can go on and on about some of these guys, but like with Arch's feet, that keeps the defense in check. And I think that is going to be such a difference maker for Texas this year.
Bob Ballou, KI Television in Austin, joining us here on the Blitz. You mentioned a couple of the receivers. We heard Michael Terry's name out of Alamo Heights quite a bit in the spring, but I haven't heard it lately. Will he have an impact as a true freshman?
I mean, we'll see. Listen, obviously Ryan Wingo and DeAndre Moore are the two starters. Emmett Mosley transferred in from Stanford. He's been bothered by a little bit of a leg injury. And from what I've heard, Parker Livingston has just looked awesome. He's been a guy that he was a freshman last year, and he was running number twos with Arch Manning. So he and Ryan Wingo have developed a great rapport with Arch. I think Parker Livingston's going to have a really good year. They've got four freshmen that at different times Sark has said something about, this preseason. He's talked about Terry. He's talked about Dalen McCutcheon. He's talked about Jamie French. Like, you get into Kalik Lockett. They all four of those guys, he said, are going to make an impact, but they're all freshmen. So they're going to have, it's going to be moments. I'm going to guess they're going to play at some point, but if Emmett Mosley's hurt, you've got your three receivers, and then who do you put in if you put in somebody as a fourth or fifth receiver, who does he trust? And that's what this is going to come down to. Again, they will probably get experience all of September, because September, we build up for 7.5 months to go into this Ohio State game. Everything's crazy this week. And then Texas plays like 3 scrimmages and has a bye week in September. So it's going to be it's a really weird schedule. And then when they leave that game in September, the third week, they don't come back home till November. They're gone for 42 days from DKR. So this schedule's really wonky. That's what makes this one so important in terms of learning a little bit about yourselves. But then you've got a full month of, we're going to practice and get these guys and see some guys in game situations, which is going to be great for them as they move into an October where they are not home at all.
That was Bob Ballou earlier today on the Blitz. To catch that full interview, just go to sasportstar.com via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio vault, and you can catch the whole thing there. Bob Ballou is great. He is brought to you by the Buyers Barricades guest line. They provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond, online at buyersbarricades.com. Well, Micah popped off today, and there's a lot of reaction to both Micah and Mozzie on the morning huddle as Brian Schottenheimer spoke on the two in his press conference yesterday. We'll bring you some of that as we continue here on the Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Stars $50K Pro Football Pick'em giveaway is back. Head to sasportstar.com and pick the winners of each pro football game every week to earn points for each correct pick. Highest points each week wins a $25 gift card to Mellow Mushroom. Highest points overall scores $1,000 worth of tickets from A Awesome Tickets. Pick the winning ticket of every regular season game. Win the grand prize, $50,000. This is an Audience National contest across multiple markets. The $50K Pro Football giveaway. Register and win at sasportstar.com.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
If your end of summer plans don't include a trip to Macy's, then you're missing out because our Labor Day sale has huge savings to wrap up the season in style. Like dresses from Karl Lagerfeld and INC, 100 and under. Plus, just what you need for fall. Like Levi's for your whole crew, 30 to 40% off. It's also the best time to update your home with our lowest prices of the season on furniture, mattresses, and more. Hurry in. Macy's Labor Day sale is going on now. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 and monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
You work hard to provide for yourself and your family, and that's why identity theft is so scary. Not only does it pose a threat to your financial well-being, everything you've worked so hard for, but it's also a danger to your family. Even children can be victims. It's not their money thieves go after, obviously, but their social security number. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Act now and save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
This is Andrew Monaco, and you're listening to the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. And speaking of Andrew Monaco, that's right, the Aggies take on the UTSA Roadrunners this weekend, a game you can catch right here on San Antonio Sports Star. It all starts on Saturday, is 5 o'clock is the pregame. And, of course, tonight you can catch the Mike Elko Show hosted by Andrew Monaco with head coach Mike Elko as they preview this week's game against the UTSA Roadrunners. And it's going to be a great, great weekend full of college football. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then boom, we're off. We got Thursday football in the NFL, Friday football in the NFL and high school football, Saturday football in college, Sunday football in the NFL, Monday football. It started. We made it. And it is right there. We get this long holiday weekend to enjoy as well, with Labor Day coming up on Monday. Programming note, we will all be off on Monday, so plan accordingly. Hopefully y'all will be watching those games on Monday night, just like I will be after I get successfully moved in. But that's going to be a blast. But in the NFL, speaking of which, Thursday, the Cowboys kick off the season. But the one thing that hangs over everything, it's not Brian Schottenheimer's first year. It's not, will they be committed to the run game? It's not George Pickens added to CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson for Dak Prescott being fully healthy. It's Micah Parsons. Will he play? Won't he play? What's going on when they take on the Eagles on Thursday? And earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, both AJ and Rob talking about his potential availability.
From Coach Schottenheimer on Micah, and here's what he says about what he needs out of practice leading up to this Philly game.
it's different for everybody. The fact he's been here gives him a little bit of a leg up on the fact that he knows the defense, and that could be a completely different story if he wasn't here. But at the end of the day, I think once we want him out there as soon as possible. When he's feeling up to it and all those things is a big factor into it. But every day that he can get out there and get reps would be great. But I do think very strongly that him being around has helped. Him doing some of the walkthroughs and things like that does help. There's communication. There's signals that come from the sideline. There's communication from player to player that he's getting all those things. But the best way to get good at football is to play football. And so I would say as soon as possible would be the desired effect.
Man, I'll tell you, times have changed.
What do you mean by that?
Think if this interview had gone on 20 years ago and Bill Parcells was the interviewee and they were talking about Micah Parsons. Do you think he'd have been that nice?
No.
I mean, literally, at times, and I think
players didn't have as much leverage back then.
And I think about the Shotty is doing everything in his powers not to pick a fight. I mean, everything
he is trying to be like the good guy for everybody.
Switzerland. I am neutral. All of that. That's such a very different thing than even 15 years ago, where if the guy wasn't here, you're mad at him. Hey, we got a plan. We got stuff to do, and he's not here, and he's under contract. I mean, that is one of the fundamental shifts. And on top of that, Shotty's pretty good at this, considering this is his first year. That's a very confident sounding coach. He doesn't sound like he's trying to walk the fine line, though he obviously is.
Yeah, he's certainly not trying to plant his flag on one side or the other. I think this is a valid question. How has it been dealing with this Micah drama while you're trying to be a first-time head coach? Because this has to be a pretty big challenge.
Just try not to get distracted by it. I think I get asked by it every time I come in here, which again, I understand and appreciate, but I can promise you when I leave here, I don't get caught up in it. I really don't. I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter and things like that, reading what people think and wonder why. I'm running a football team, and I'm worried about the other guys, and the business side of it always works out. One way or the other, the business side always works out. And so that's something that I'm not really in control of. And because of that, it's easy to say, okay, hey, let me focus on the stuff I am in control of. And that's getting these guys ready to play and be in great shape and have the scheme ready to go and the coaches ready to go on September 4th against Philadelphia.
It always works out. One way or the other, he said.
Well, the good news
doesn't mean it works like the way that you want it to, but
it is what it is. That's that statement. It is what it is. But the part of this that I do think he's been here for 4 years. He's kind of been through the drama of the Dallas Cowboys and their star players. So at least he was, he wasn't front and center, but he's kind of lived through this many times. So in his history with the Cowboys, the guys have always signed. They've always signed and always showed up and went to work. And so I can see why he's optimistic, though. Even as we heard from earlier sound, is kind of like, yeah, it might be difficult for week one.
And it's definitely sounding like it's getting more and more difficult as the days go by. And we'll explain more about that coming up when we play Jane Slater, because I'm telling you, she dropped some nuggets today on the blitz, and we'll get to that in a second. But one more thing Shotty said, because John Machota, the Athletic, friend of the blitz, asked the question during the presser, and props because it's a lot of what everybody wanted to know. When the 53 got dropped, why did Mozzie Smith make the 53-man roster?
So a fair question. And that was part of the conversation with Mozzie that, hey, nothing is guaranteed. We're all competing, and you've got your 53-man roster, but then you've got your game day roster. And again, the message was the same. I thought Mozzie had two of his best practices last week. Thought he played well, had flashes during the game, just okay yesterday. And so again, the conversation and having hard conversations, some coaches might be like, yeah, hey, I'll just deal with that when we get back. But I wanted Mozzie to know that, this has nothing to do with you being a first-round draft pick. There's an expectation of you as a player because of how talented you are, and we've seen it. We just need to see it on more of a consistent basis. And, gave him my input. We had great conversation about, how we can help him and him figuring out his routine and getting his body feeling better and things like that. It's the power of spoken words, man, where you just get on the same page. And that way, if there's a misunderstanding, it's not because I didn't have the courage to have a conversation. It's a misunderstanding because something was said that maybe they didn't like. And Mozzie didn't take it that way at all. It was a great conversation. But I just feel like you over communicate as a leader that sits in a role like I do.
And you better over communicate, because sounds like you still have to be on him about consistency in his effort, even after that conversation where Monday you didn't get exactly what you wanted out of them from practice. Now they've got the day off today and tomorrow. We'll see what happens as they start to gear up for actual game week for Thursday, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. What's also interesting to see how it plays out is the Micah Parsons drama, because Jane Slater had some, as Travis and Jason would say on New Heights, new news. But what does it mean? Are they as far apart as it seems, or could there be something closer than we realize? We'll play what Jane Slater of the NFL Network had to say when she joined the Blitz a little bit earlier this afternoon. That's all coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledge on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The long weekend sale is on at Target with exciting deals you won't want to miss. Stock up on grilling must-haves for a few more sunny barbecues. And while you're at it, ease into sweater weather with fresh new fits for the fam. Whether you're hosting, relaxing, or showing off your new style, Target has your deal in-store, online, and in the Target app. Hurry and save more with the long weekend sale happening now through Monday. Only at Target.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Is Cialis Daily really better than Viagra?
If you like spontaneity, the answer is yes. So when the mood strikes, you're ready to go.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
When you take it, you're ready to go.
Does Cialis Daily last longer than Viagra?
Guys are raving that their results last even longer.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Does RexMD really work?
Over 85% of guys said not only does it work, they saw results the very first night. And you can get your first month free at freerexmd.com with medication delivered direct to your door. There's no copay, no doctor office visit, and your shipping is always free. Visit freerexmd.com to get your first month free. That's FREEREXMD.com.
Hey, listen up, San Antonio. Multiple tours overseas, long nights monitoring cyber activity, years of protecting the country. It all adds up at University of Maryland Global Campus. Earn up to 90 credits for prior learning, military experience, and training. We call that credit where credit is due. Whether you're active duty and looking at what's next, or a veteran looking for something new, our degrees and certificate programs teach the application of emerging technologies and enduring life skills. So get started on a degree or certificate with personalized local support services and online and hybrid courses right here in San Antonio. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit UMGC at San Antonio or umgc.edu/SATX.
Most people in radio commercials talk really fast. But we made this one for RV owners. Progressive knows they like the slower pace of RV life, like this commercial. And they know Progressive will protect their RV at a fair price with discounts. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Have you or a loved one been arrested? Call the law office of Jesse Hernandez, the Texas Chancla, and get the aggressive legal help you deserve. From criminal defense to personal injury, attorney Jesse Hernandez and his powerhouse team are ready to fight for your rights. Calls are answered 24/7 because legal trouble doesn't keep office hours. Call 210-807-8656 or visit JesseHernandezLaw.com. That's JesseHernandezLaw.com. The law office of Jesse Hernandez, the Texas Chancla, has your back.
94.1 FM, San Antonio Sports Star.
Had a surprise guest on the Blitz earlier today as Jane Slater of the NFL Network called him with the latest on everything that is going on with Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys. And it was eye-opening to go through what she had to say about where they stand with this contract dispute. Here is Jane Slater from earlier today on the Blitz.
Look, again, there's a lot of smoke here and a lot of things we can speculate on, but we don't know if there's been an offer made or if this is just a rumor out there. We don't pledge. We just don't know or what's going to happen. And it's something Jane said earlier. Could this be just Jerry and the Cowboys throwing something like this out to put some pressure on Micah to come back to the table and agree to the deal that Jerry offered him back in March?
While I still feel confident this thing's going to get done, we've got to pay some attention to some of these content aggregators out there, these content creators, because you just never know where scoops are coming from. When I worked here locally, covered the Rangers, and Daniel Murphy's daughter told a preschool teacher that he was going to be an Indian and he went off to Cleveland. So you have to run them all down. But I don't know if it's apathy at this point or people are just fatigued with the story. And I've certainly been texting a lot of my sources like a crazy ex the last couple of weeks. But all I'll say is they are moving a little differently right now. Everyone is. And my only, and I know you guys love conspiracy theories, so do I.
Whoa.
My conspiracy theory on this is maybe this is a rumor that the Cowboys are leaning into a little bit to make Micah Parsons uncomfortable enough to come to Jerry, kiss the ring, and try and get this thing done.
You know, and we all want to get this thing done. Jane Slater from the NFL Network on with Pat McAfee earlier. And she's joining us now here on the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star so we can dive into some of these different conspiracy theories. Jane, I know it's been an exhausting day chasing down all these rumors.
You know, it's kind of that part of the year that I cherish and I look forward to. It's an annual thing, an exhaustive extension process as it relates to the Cowboys.
Always is, Jane, but you're plugged in and you've got sources. And so I want to ask you just straight out. We've been through Dak. We've been through CD. This one feels different to me. Does this feel different to you?
I didn't think so at first, but the way we're moving now, it does feel different. And I'll explain. You know, he's got a year left on his contract, and the Cowboys, in theory, have 3 more years of essentially ownership. And, you know, it was Zeke who came to them 2 years ahead of schedule, held out, and he was away in Cabo. And while it was a distraction, I don't think it was as distracting as Micah showing up to camp. You know, we'd see him at times with a jersey over his shoulder, or he was in his sweatpants. And, you know, I think the training table incident was really irritating to people inside the building because, you know, Jerry had said to him, you know, if I'm going to pay you, you know, the sort of money that I pay the leaders, namely CD, Dak, Trayvon Diggs, I expect you to lead in body language, actions, etc. And that's not what they were looking for. And as I've characterized it with other people, you know, Zeke had all sorts of issues off the field and still have a number of players. If you just watch the Cowboys documentary, Jerry, for whatever reason, has a level of ambiguity. That's fine with that. But the irritating saying one thing, doing another, and I honestly think there's some level of, are you respecting the game with Jerry? It's really, I think, got him worked up and kind of drilling down here. And as much as everyone wants to make it, you know, about the agent, I could make arguments on both sides. I mean, Micah went in there for a leadership meeting It somehow, neither side can tell me how it got to the contract talk. They discussed it. It's my understanding that Micah then reached back out to Jerry. They discussed a few more things. Jerry said, cool. And then when he said, I want to get my agent involved, for whatever reason, Jerry wanted nothing to do with that. And I mean, we've seen the back and forth with the Todd Francis, the David Cantors, the Rocky Arsenault. But this one feels different in the sense that I think Jerry believes, I know he believes, that he had a full-on negotiation over 2 days with the principal in this, which was Micah. And as he states, Micah's smart enough to know what he was doing. My only argument is it's a 26-year-old that's on his first big contract. And he's always gotten the sense and felt like him and Jerry are friends. They are close. And now Micah feels manipulated. See, now I'm sounding like Jerry.
Yeah,
Micah is feeling that he was taken advantage of. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. But as much as I didn't want to give a lot of credence to these rumors, I always run them down as ridiculous as some of them are. And these days it's frustrating because you don't want to give some of these content creators, too much exposure, because then they're just going to keep punking you all the time when these things happen. But there does seem to be something to this. And I don't know if it's because of that training table incident where, the Cowboys like, all right, like this is now going to be a distraction. If in fact the Packers do have a trade proposal on the table, I think it would be negligent of the Cowboys not to seriously consider it. And, I just wonder if the people in the building that were pushing for a trade of Micah 2 years ago are saying, Jerry, this is going to carry over into the season. How can we ignore the type of haul that Micah would command?
And that's the main question is, and what do you consider a haul? Is 2 firsts, a second, and a fifth a haul? Because that seems like a lot for a guy that you're going to have to pay $45 million to and cut that check as soon as he lands in wherever he goes. That is the ultimate question. And what could you do with that draft capital? And do you trust the Cowboys with that draft capital? That's probably the most important question, because it's one thing, but to have capital like you had that from the Herschel Walker trade, to be able to go back on that and try and recapture that, you got to hit on a lot of those to make it what it is. Do you trust the Cowboys to be able to hit on enough of those picks to make it worth it, to find the next Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott and the hits that they have had? Zach Martins, the Tyler Smiths even. They have a lot of hits. Far fewer misses, but the misses when they miss are quite appalling. Mozzie Smith, Taco Charlton. It hasn't been great. Mo Claiborne. It's been an up and down roller coaster, but there have been far more hits than misses. Do you trust them? That's the ultimate thing. Or do you keep Micah and go after this thing? And if you do, why wouldn't you do this earlier so that you could start all on the same page, moving in the same direction, instead of causing this strife within the team and amongst the dynamic? Because that is the ultimate thing that I think keeps the Cowboys from ultimately winning every year, is the drama they create amongst themselves year in and year out. And that's from the circus master, Jerry Jones. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger. I appreciate all y'all for riding along with me tonight. Remember, call and check on your loved ones. You never know what people are going through in life. And as always, I will see you tomorrow right back here. Same bat time, same bat channel. Extra Innings with Pledger, 6 o'clock. Don't forget, wake up, start your day with AJ and Rob on the Morning Huddle. And of course, the Blitz live at the Roo Pub, 2 to 6 tomorrow. Be sure to get out there and check it out. This has been Extra Innings with Pledge. We'll see you tomorrow.
94.1.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risk